Hello everyone, this is another video brought to you by Aquatic Hood. So today I'm going to try and tackle some aquascaping. Now I'm a complete noob at this, so I've got no illusions it's probably going to turn into a car crash, but I'm going to try anyway. So as you can see from this video angle, I am still trying to get used to this angle malarkeys when it comes to videoing. But what I'm doing here is I've took the inside measurements of my tank and I'm going to lay it out on a hard surface that won't scratch, i.e. my kitchen top. So I've got a good idea of whereabouts it's going to look in the tank once it's inside it. Also, I need to make sure there's plenty of space around it because obviously I'm going to be cleaning with my algae scraper to make sure that I've got plenty of space around the rock so I don't knock it when I'm trying to clean my glass. So I ended up with something like this. Now, it is important to remember that I took the inside measurement. That's inside the glass. So I've got the exact space from inside the tank of what I've got to play with. And I've just used masking tape to get that idea of size. Now, like I said before, the whole point of this is so I can visually see how it's going to look in the tank without it putting it in the tank, if that makes sense. Well, it made sense in my head, so that's why I did it. So I picked up the TMC EcoReef Nano Mix A, and all the rocks are on there as well, you can see. So I got this because it was cheap. I'm not going to lie, it did what I needed to do. It was porous, it's recommended, so that's why I got it. Now, bearing in mind, I don't have a lot of disposable income, so I'm trying to make this as cheap as possible. Yes, there was other better options out there, but this is the option I took to keep it affordable. So no haters. So as I open it up, you can see it's encased in a little polystyrene box. Now, it's quite useful, that. Probably should have kept it, could have used it for something else, but it's in the bin now, so who cares. But if you'll also see that all the rocks are coated in bubble wrap, which is great because my ADHD loves squishing bubble wrap. So hooray for that. And I did pop it later because that's just me. So I fast forwarded a little bit just because you need to see me unwrap every little bit and look through it. Now, I do talk on this video, but I've muted it because the audio was terrible and I can't remember what I've said now. So if you see me wave my hands around, there is a reason for it, but I don't know what I'm doing. I can't remember. Anyway, so first impressions, yes, it's very porous, this rock, and that's evident when I put water in it because it bubbles up and stuff, so there's plenty of space in there, which is good for the bacteria to grow in, and it's also good for the copepods. Copepods? Am I saying that right? I don't know. Pods. I'm looking at getting pods, and I'm going to be putting this in this tank as well, which will help control the algae and things like that. But anyway, that's future video stuff. So what I was trying to achieve with this look is I wanted at the edges, at the ends, to be high. And I wanted a lower midsection. The reason for that is what I had in my mind is that I want plenty of open space for the fish to swim about in. If I get any open water ones, as it were, open water in a tank, should I say? What's that about? What was that going on with the video there? But yes, so I want high at the ends, I want low in the middle, but I also want to have an island in the middle because I want to get GSP, is it? That grassy greeny stuff which looks really cool, but apparently it is beginner friendly, which is awesome, but it grows like no one's business and it will take over a tank if you let it. So one of the ways to control that is to have a little island in the middle where you put it on there so it can grow over that island and it won't be able to spread beyond that. I believe it will spread onto the sand as well, but it will be a lot easier to pick it off than it would be from the other rocks. So that's my thought process. That was the look I'm going for, and in this video, which I'm probably going to fast forward in a minute, you'll see me go through the process of doing it. What I did like about these rocks as well is they do fit together, like you just seen then, fairly well. Considering they all appear to be random shapes, that just fell off there, but never mind. Even though they seem to be random shapes, they do fit together quite well. And when I go on a bit later in this video, you'll see that it does fit together really well, to be honest. And you can put random shapes together and it seems to work. But this is me playing around with it. And that's what aquascaping is about, to my understanding, because obviously I'm a beginner. It's about playing with it, what works for you and what doesn't work. And what I'm also doing here as well is looking at the height of the tank because I want it quite a bit higher. I don't want the rock to go too high. I'm looking at 2/3 of the way up and a third for the fish to swim around in and stuff like that. I've also got to be mindful of flow as well, because if you've got dead zones and things like that to think about. Now, looking where my nozzle inlet nozzle from the pump is going to be and where my wave maker is going to be, and I'll talk a bit about that later as well. I'm hoping I don't want to get too many dead spots and things like that. And I probably should add, what I mean by dead spots is like where the flow isn't as strong. And the problem with that in a tank like this is that debris will form there, which means the algae will have lots of nutrients and that will grow there and things like that. So ideally you want to keep a flow around the tank. The truth is I'm a complete noob at this, and when I set it up I might find that I've got those dead spots, but I can move my wave maker, adjust it. I can move my nozzle head for the inlet about so it can try and alleviate that, and if worse comes to worse I can always move the rocks around a little bit, so it's not end of the world. And a lot of that probably going to be when it settles in and then I start feeding, I've got livestock in there and debris starts forming up and stuff like that, and then I'll probably see it a lot better. But at the moment I'm doing best guess. So as I start putting it together and getting an idea what I'm looking for, as you can see in this video here, I then sit back and have a look, and then I decided I didn't like it, and then I changed it a little bit. Then I took pictures and took them of to my partner and got her opinion of it, what she thought of it, because invariably she's gonna have to live with it too. And then I sat back and looked at it again, and then I changed it a bit more. So I went through quite a few reiterations, but that's what scaping's about. It's about you getting how you want it to look and what makes you happy, because after all it's your tank. So it doesn't matter what the experts say or anything like that, what they believe or what they don't believe. If somebody thinks it's rubbish, that's their opinion. It's what you like. So once I decided what the rocks were going to look like, and I think I changed it even more after that picture, but hey ho, I have to clean the sand. Now you probably noticed when I initially poured it in the amount of dust that came off it, and look how dirty that water is as well. And believe it or not, I didn't find any videos about how to clean sand, so I made it up as I went along. But I don't think I did a too bad job, because when I pour it all in, it doesn't really have, not very cloudy, which is great. So as you can see, I'm using tap water here, and I'm agitating the sand, getting all the fine particles out, and I keep doing that over and over again until the water's fairly clear. And then after that, I think you'll see in a second, I then poured RO water in there just to get all of the tap water out of it, as it were, and that should hopefully clean it up and get all the bad stuff out from the tap water, most of it anyway. But there probably is going to be some left at the bottom because I can pour a certain amount with this tub that I'm using. But oh, here comes the RO water, but it will only be a small amount, so hopefully my tank during the cycle will be able to deal with that and get rid of any of the nasties that are in there. So once I've done that, I poured out the excess water, and then I went over my tank and stuck it in, but that'll be on a different video. So first things first, you got this little chamber here. So that's where the heater goes, to my understanding. Now, this is the TMC heater. I don't know what, oops, sorry. I don't know much about these heater stuff, but I mean, the only thing I don't like is that if you can see, where is it, the camera? You adjust the temperature like that, but you can't really fine tune it, really. So I'm just going to stick it at 24 because that's a safe bet. Now, it come with this, which now makes me understand what it is that this came with it, which is the clip. It goes on there. It goes on there like that. Woo! Sits like that. So that makes sense now. So I could just slot it in. Can I? Slots in like that. So you can't put it on here, it's too thick, so you have to put it on there. Okay, every day's a school day, peeps. Which is good, because I'll show you later on, but you can actually see the temperature gauge on the outside of it, so that's helpful. Wires we'll worry about in a bit. So then we have the protein skimmer. So we have the protein skimmer. Yet again, god damn it, I should have got all this sorted before I started videoing it, but hey ho, never mind. So take this off. I mean, it would be nice if there was something to run the cables up the side with, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to pop it in for now. So that sits like that, but what's with this then? Why is that facing that way? Surely it would go that way. Doesn't want to fit. Must go that way then. So, okay. Oops, I keep knocking it. Because I would have thought that's where it sucked it up from. Well, it is, but why is it sucking up from top of the filter? Right, hold with me. I need to get the book and have a look. So if we have a look at the book, yeah, I'm not sure if you can make it out in this video, but the filter does go over this main filter. Who knew? So yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to take the protein skimmer out so I can put the filter medium in there. Here we go. Right, as I said before, this does come with carbon, but I'm not putting that in yet. So that goes in. Oops. Need to take it out of the bag first. Right, this bad boy. So let's stick that in. There, give somewhere for the bacteria to grow on. And just for now, I'm sticking it in without the carbon. Oh, it's a bit tight. Just like that. Now, like I said yesterday, you got the filter. My last video, should I say, because it's yesterday for me, but hey. So I didn't want to use this one. I wanted to get a cheaper one because of the fine particles from the sand will clog it up, and I can keep it when I've actually got fishes in it. So I got this one, the cheap one. So I'm going to stick that on top, but big difference. His colour's a bit different, but it's a lot thinner. I mean, I keep telling my missus that size doesn't matter, but hey ho. So stick that bad boy in top there, cut to the right size. Now I can put the protein skimmer in. Now, so protein skimmer goes on there, and just for effect, stick that in there, and then we've got the lid. Cool, cooking on gas. Next thing we need, pump. So, already comes assembled like that, and it's got to go in through there. So, I'd guess, like that. So, connect this up. Bit stiff. How does it have that in that picture? Has it like that? So it goes in like that. So I need to spin this round like so. Oh, I have to unwind this. God, cables. There we go. We'll worry about cable management later. So stick that in, poke it through the hole. Stick that, and I can direct that any which way I want. So that should be it. So we've got this. Obviously the protein skimmer goes through there, so I have to unclip it. Yeah, that makes sense. Unclip it. Now one you notice has got a cutout here for the wires, which is helpful. Just there, so I can thread the wires through that. Even though this appears messy, if you ask me. There's got to be a better way to manage these cables. This is pig tip. Right, so cable management for later, but that's it set up for now. What I need to do is then put the rocks in, then put the sand in around it. I can only apologise for the glare on this one, but I've got two big French windows, like, just as you can see in the reflection. So reflection is going to be bad. Just deal with it. You can see me putting the rocks in. That's the main thing, because that's what we're after. So, because I want goby and a pistol shrimp pair, I need to make sure that my rocks are stable. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the rocks directly on the glass. I've heard some people say put it on the sand because it distributes the weight. I've heard other people say put it directly on the glass because it keeps it stable and stops digging fish and digging critters, destabilizing it. Both make sense to me, but because I want digging critters and I don't want to risk it for a biscuit, I have put the rock directly on the glass itself. Do I think there's going to be enough pressure on the rock to break the glass? No, this is tempered glass. It should be fine. Would it be better to distribute the weight so it doesn't scratch the glass? Yes, possibly, but it's the bottom. What does it matter? So I've gone to put it directly on the glass. And I'm going to place the little island in the middle, just making sure there's enough space for it because I don't want the GSP, I think it's called off the top of my head, probably got it wrong, but never mind, being able to jump over to the main rocks. Now, this is all about positioning and things like that. Yet again, like I said to you before, it's about personal preference. Don't let any naysayers say it looks rubbish if you like it. Now, here's a top tip for you. I get my cleaning majigger, whatever you want to call it, and I go around the outside of the tank to make sure there is enough space between my rocks and the side of the tank. Now, I'm going to need to clean this tank in the future. What I don't want to do is be knocking my rock work. So this is what I'm doing. I'm adjusting it as I go along with my belly in the way. I am not pregnant, in case anybody's wondering. And I'm going to go around and I'm just going to make sure that the rock's positioned correctly so I've got enough space around it to clean the glass without worrying about hitting the rock like I did just there. And there again. Do I move that? Yeah, there I move it slightly. So you can see my logic to my madness on this one, guys. I would advise you guys do it too. Yes, this is quite a wide cleaning utensil thingamajiggy, but I'll get a nice streamline one in the future. So yet again, my Awesemo angles strike again because I'm really good at this angle stuff. Clearly not. All you can see here is my pregnant belly. Yet again, I haven't got a baby on the way that I'm aware of. If I was, I'm probably going to be a rich person, but I'm not. So, because my rock's already there, I can't just simply pour the sand into the aquarium for obvious reasons. So I'm going to have to handball it out. I am speeding this up because you don't need to see this. It's just logical steps that you need to take. Sorry about the glare again. I am still not used to filming in this style, so I'm finding it a bit difficult, clearly. But anyway, so as you can see, the sand's fairly thick still. I did want to think layer of sand anyway, because I want to get a pistol shrimp and goby pair, and the pistol shrimp digs and the goby lives in the tunnels. So I needed a fairly thick level anyway, but I think this is probably a little too thick, but then I've also got to think I've only just dumped it in, so it's probably going to settle down and shrink, compact a little bit, should I say, once it's settled into its routine. So hopefully it won't be as bad as it looks right now. And to tell you the truth, I don't think it will. So as you can see, I've now put the remains of the cheap filter that I bought, and you can tell it's a cheap filter because I cut a square out of it for the main filter, should I say. Anyway, so the reason I've done this is because I am pouring 25 gallons, not 25 gallons, that's a lot, 25 litre jerry cans into this, and it will blast the sand everywhere. So by doing this, hopefully it will defuse it a little bit so it doesn't blow the sand around as much. So as you can see, I've sped it up because obviously it's boring and my face is there as well. But you can see the filter's doing what it's supposed to do. It's stopping it, kicking up all the sand and all that stuff. And rinse and repeat this until I fill the tank up completely. So now this is all complete. It's fully filled up with water, as you can see. Now, you'll notice I've obviously got a thermometer for obvious reasons, but I've also got the power head or the wave maker in as well. Now, I did say in my last video not to do that. I wasn't going to do that, should I say. I've now decided to put it in because after doing a bit of research, I got told it was a good idea. So as you can see here, it's pointed up towards the surface of the water. That will help aerate it because it breaks the surface and lets oxygen get into it, which is always good. And also, if I point it down or anything like that, it could disturb all the sand, which is what we don't want. So the power head's now in there, and it's been in there since I set it up because this is a week later since I did all this stuff. So the final design for my aquascaping is, you can see I've got the two high points at either side of the tank which I wanted, which gives us plenty of negative space in the middle for fish to swim around in. But I've also got plateaus on top of the high points so I can put corals and stuff, and I've got lots of flat areas there. I can also put other corals as well. And I've still got the island in the middle, which I was aiming for to put my GSP or whatever it's called. The grassy stuff that spreads like wildfire, basically. So that shouldn't, and I believe, hopefully, fingers crossed, that's far enough from the other rock so it won't spread anywhere else. Now, a lot of people put that stuff on the back as well, because all I've got is wallpaper, which is a bit boring. I might think about that in the future, but now I just want to keep it simple, stupid, because I don't want to overwhelm myself and let something take over the tank and me not know what to do to control it. So I've also going to be putting this stuff in it. This is the NT Lab Status. Now what this is all the good bacteria you need that breaks down the ammonia, which is bad stuff because that attacks fish gills and stuff, and makes it into nitrite, which then a different bacteria which should be in here will break that down into nitrates, which are less harmful. So I'm going to start seeding this from the word go, and I think I've got a little video actually. Let me show you the video. It's really simple. Now, all you need to do is fill this cup up full of the stuff after giving it a good shake. Now, a full cup's 5 millilitres. Now, I've not done that here because I've already done the initial feed. But then after that, you need to put half a cup in. And you do that every day for 7 days. Once you've put the status in, all you need to do then is put a little bit of fish food in there to kickstart the cycle. Now, I'm not talking a handful of food here. It only needs to be a pinch of fish food in there. What will happen then is over the course of 2 days, it will take about 2 days, give or take, so don't bother testing before then because you're not going to get anything. But it takes about 2 days to break down, and then that will release ammonia, Then the bacteria in the status will break that ammonia down to nitrite. The nitrite is broken down in by a different bacteria into nitrate, which is seen as the lesser of three evils, should I say, on that one, which is not going to be as harmful for your fish. Now, the way you remove that is by taking water out, but I'll talk more about that when I go into my next cycling video, which is going to be my next video, funny enough. But anyway, I'll stop boring you all to death because I know I drone on a lot, but I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I look forward to seeing my next one. Bye-bye for now.